Hello everyone and welcome back to another installment of Warcry 2.0. This time we're taking a look at our fourth place in the list, which is the Bonesplitterz. I'm very sorry for the late upload today, but yeah, work came in the way of things and I just about managed to get this done. So anyways, let's get to it. First off, we're going to talk about the new units that were added, both normal units and leader options. Then we're going to talk about the point efficiency of each of those and the abilities they get. And last but not least, we're going to check out what kind of list I would recommend bringing. So, the for the Savage Orcs, or sorry, the Bonesplitterz, the first new option you've got are Boar Boys. So basically the boar riding kind of orcs. So the Savage Boar Boy with Chomper comes in at 150 points, has movement 10, toughness 4, and 25 wounds. So they are quite survivable. And movement 10, of course, is good. However, keep in mind they do have the mounted keyword, so they won't be able to climb and so on. Range of 1, 3 attacks, strength 3, 1, 3 damage. Now, that is only 2 damage on average. That is the same damage a Plains Runner does who costs 55 points, or a Ghoul who costs 55 points. So you're paying a lot of points for the 25 wounds and movement 10. You're going to have to decide whether you think that's worth it. I think he's probably a bit too weak to really be considered. And we've got the Savage Boar Boy with Sticker. Um, his damage profile is even worse. He only has 2 attacks at strength 3 and 1-3 damage, so you can see 1.4 damage on average per action. Now imagine even fighting against like a an 8 wound chaff model, talking about that Plains Runner or Ghoul again. He would need like a full 3 battle rounds to take him down. That is not great, because like the high movement is only valuable when you can do something with it. And this guy is not going to be able to deal damage, so he can move in somewhere, maybe mug something up. But again, 25 wounds is good, but it's not amazing. So he's not going to stick around forever. You can't just stick him into a blob of enemies and hope to slow them all down forever. He'll slow them down for 1 turn, but after that turn he's going to be dead and not having dealt any damage himself. Then we've got the Savage Boar Boy with Totem. He is a lot more expensive, costs 205 points. Same characteristic with 10 move, toughness 4, 25 wounds. However, he does have a 3-inch ranged weapon, so he is not able to climb anywhere, but with a weapon with 3-inch range, he would actually be able to clobber some people when standing underneath them. So say you're underneath a platform and someone is over you, you could hit them with a 3-inch ranged weapon, which is interesting. He gets 3 attacks at strength 5 and 2 4 damage. So as you can see, that's a lot better in terms of attacks, and he deals 5 damage on average per action. So his damage output is really not bad, especially considering how good his movement and wounds characteristics are. But he is quite expensive. Then we've got the Savage Boar Boy Maniac, comes in at 170 points. Same 10-inch move, however only toughness 3, 25 wounds. A range of 1, 3 attacks, strength 4, 2 4 damage. Not bad, 4 points of damage on average. However, for a 170 point model, I'm not quite sure that's worth it. We'll see. Then we've got the Savage Big Boss. So this was all our new units. Now let's get into the leaders. The Savage Big Boss is 225 points, and that makes him the most expensive. No, he's not the most expensive. Sorry, he's relatively expensive leader. Movement 4, toughness 4, 30 wounds, so very tough to kill. Range 1, 3 attacks, strength 5, 3/6 damage. So his damage output is pretty insane. It's actually the same that the Savage Big Stabbers have. So he comes to 7.6 damage on average per action. Then we've got the Wargok Prophet. He costs 225 points. Got a move 4, toughness 4, 28 wounds. And his range is 7, sorry. He has the standard mage ranged attack, so range of 7 to attack, strength 3, damage 3/6. Yeah, it's just the normal magical ranged attack. It's the same attack that the War Dog and the Maniac Weird Knob. All three of these get the same ranged attack profile and a very, very shitty melee profile. So none of these are really gonna be doing much in terms of combat and damage. However, the Wargok Prophet and the War Dog both have movement 4, toughness 4, and the Wargok has 28, the War Dog 25 wounds. So still relatively survivable there. The Maniac Weird Knob comes in at 285 points, 10 movement because he's mounted on a boar. Toughness 4, 35 wounds, so a lot of wounds, hard to kill this guy. 7-inch range. He also gets the magic attack. Yeah, I think the combination is a bit weird. You don't really need 10-inch movement when you have 7-inch attack radiuses anyways, and he doesn't want to get into melee because then he can't use his mage attack and he has to use his even worse melee attack. So yeah, and he also costs a lot of points for all you're getting as a shitty melee, as a shitty range attack. So for all of these three guys, it's really going to depend on how good their abilities are. Um, and if you want to bring them or not, we'll have to look at their abilities. Then we've got the Savage Boar Boy boss. So yeah, normal Boar Boy boss, 250 points. I'm sorry, guys. Movement 10, toughness 4, 35 wounds. 4 attacks, strength 4, 2/5 damage. So not a bad damage profile there. Dealing 6 damage on average. So his 10-inch move is kind of worth it more than that of the normal Boar Boys because at least when he gets there, he's going to be able to punch stuff. Then we've got the Savage Boss Maniac, 265 points and 15 points more expensive. 10-inch move, toughness 4, 35 wounds. So interestingly, he doesn't get the toughness 3 that the normal Boar Boy Maniac gets. 1-inch range, 4 attacks, strength 4, 3/6 damage. For 4 attacks, that is pretty insane and gets him to 8 points of damage on average per action. So he's a very punchy model with a lot of movement and a lot of wounds to boot. So just in terms of combat effectiveness, he's good, though he costs a lot of points as well, so keep that in mind. Now, how point efficient are these guys? Well, the Savage Boar Boy with Chomper and the one with Sticker both are horribly bad in terms of damage, which isn't going to surprise you. As I said, they do the same amount of damage that other 55-point models do, costing 3 times that. They are quite survivable though, and they actually fall into the better category of point value there. So you're getting a survivable movement 10 model, which is not going to deal any damage. The Savage Boar Boy with the Totem is slightly better in terms of his damage output. He's also more as survivable as the others. However, his point value is a bit worse on the survivability just because he costs a lot more points. 205 points is nothing to sneeze at. Then we've got the Boar Boy Maniac. Same issue again. His damage output is not horrible, but for the kind of points he costs, it's still not great. Also, he's only toughness 3, so easier to kill than the others. Then we've got the Savage Big Boss. He's one of the few new additions you can see whose damage is not bad. His damage per point value is average. He's also quite survivable, 6 activations to be taken down, and is on average point value there. Then we've got the 3 mages. Of course, all of them are horrible point value in terms of their damage. I've talked about this. The standard mage ranged attack is just not very good. Um, yeah, and they are all relatively survivable at 557. Especially the maniac Whitlock, of course, because he rides on a boar. But all like normal for their points values. Then we've got the Savage Boar Boy boss. Of course, his damage is not bad at 6. His damage per point value is not amazing though, and therefore, yeah, he's just a thing. Then we've got the boss Maniac, and I think he's just the better version of the normal Boar Boy boss. Has 2 points extra damage per action, and therefore gets into the mid range of damage per point value, which is not bad considering he's also very fast and very survivable. So, not a bad model there. What new abilities did we get? Well, all the boar models got the standard charge ability, so dealing damage equal to the value of your ability after moving. Um, Not great, not bad. It's it's a thing. You're gonna use it at some point if you're running a boar. Um, I mean, it's possible to deal some serious damage with that, at least if you're going to run, say, a Savage Boar Boy with Chomper or Sticker. Um, they really can't deal damage on their own, and at least with this triple, you can get like a bit of a burst of damage there if you need it. And we've got the oh, I wrote Maniac. It's a Maniac, of course. The Maniac Weird Knob. So the first of your um, so the boar riding variant of your mages, basically. Well, he can add for a double 1 attack to his ranged attack. Um, it's not horrible. You can shoot at someone and get 1 extra attack. That's going to make it more efficient for sure. Normally it's 3 damage on average, and that's going to bump it up to 4.5, 4.6, something like that. Not bad. I think it's okay. It's only a double, so that's fair. We've got a triple for all the leaders, which obviously is the war, so adding the value of the ability to movement characteristic for all fighters within 6 inches. Obviously good, and don't need to talk about that much. You're going to use that every time on the first battle round for sure. Then we've got the War Dog. So yeah, the War Dog Shaman guy. He can heal 1 damage to all friendly units within 6 inches of him for a triple. That is a garbage ability. Healing 1 damage, that's not gonna help you much at all, ever. How many friends are going to be within 6 inches of you? Maybe 3 or 4. That's 4 points of damage healed for a triple. Yuck. Big yuck. Big bad ability. Then we've got the Wergok Prophet. He also gets a triple, which reduces the attacks for all enemies within 6 inches of him by 1. That is very good. Yeah, that's going to make a lot of enemies a lot less effective, and that's really going to help you. I think out of all of these abilities, apart from the movement one, which is amazing, that's certainly the best one so far. And then we've got the quad for the Savage Big Boss, which is adding the value of the move. Adding the value of the ability to the movement characteristic for everyone within 9 inches. So just the bigger version of the normal war for the leader, but it costs a quad. So I don't think it's gonna be that amazing. Right. Okay then, let's have a look at what kind of list I would recommend. For our leader option, I think the Wargok Prophet is probably your best choice. His triple is pretty good. It really nerfs the combat power of your opponents, makes your entire warband a lot more survivable. It's for a triple as well. So first turn, of course, you're going to use the wall to get your models in there. Second turn, it's more likely that you're going to use this triple. And if you have a double on top of that, you could use the double of a Morboy totem. Suddenly you would be reducing all your enemies' attacks by 1 and increasing your own toughness on your most of your warband to toughness 5. That would make everyone very, very survivable, which also means that you don't need to bring the super high wound count models. Um, so since you have the war, I don't think you need the pigs necessarily, especially since all of them are quite bad in terms of point and damage output. All of their damage outputs is really bad. Um, so all they get you is the movement 10, which of course is great. But with the war, you can easily get to movement 8 and higher on all of your units for a turn. So I don't think you need it. And therefore, I'd say that probably the Wargok Prophet is a great choice. Then I'd go for 3 Morboys with totems, mainly because they are just as good as the normal Morboys in terms of damage output, but they have 3-inch range. And also they get the ability, so that there's really no reason not to bring the Morboys with totems. I think they are great, and I'd get 3 of them. Then I'd still get 2 Savage Big Stabbers. You need a couple of heavy hitters in your warband, and these guys are heavy hitters, and they are also survivable. Because your leader in this warband is not going to be a heavy hitter. He's a support character. His abilities are great. He can do a bit of poke with his range attacks, but mainly he's going to be supporting. He's going to be supporting your Savage Big Stabbers. And then on top of that, you get a couple of bodies. And I think like having the one arrow boy isn't gonna hurt either. So this warband comes in at 7 models. That's not a lot, but all of your models are relatively expensive. If you would want to go cheaper, you'd have to spam Savage Stabbers or Chompers, who are both rather bad. Um, so the the issue is obviously the number of guys. However, I think the warband is quite powerful, or at least like good mid tier. It certainly got buffed by the Wargok Prophet being put in there. I'm sure you could make the Savage Boss Maniac work as well, because he's just a powerhouse on his own. So you could, instead of the Wargok Prophet, like forgo that triple ability he gets, you could go with the Savage Boss Maniac and make him your primary focus, your damage dealer who is quite fast and gets in there and kills people. So that would certainly be an option. Issue being, he's movement 10, yes, but he's limited to the floor. So if something important, like an objective, is on higher level on a platform, or the enemy model you want to kill is just hiding on a platform, suddenly the Savage Boss Maniac is going to stand around looking pretty dumb because he can't really help. So that's one big trouble with him, and that's why I think the Savage Stabbers is still gonna be a bit better. When you bring the Wargok Prophet, um, you're going, as usual with greenskins, you'll want to focus your attention around your leader because he can buff your units most. As someone brought to my attention recently, of course, we can't forget that you can only bring a maximum of half of your warband in one battle group, so there could only be 3 guys in the shield. So I'd probably put 1 big stabber in the shield, then your prophet and 1 totem. That would be 3 guys, that's the maximum you can bring. And then in your dagger, I would also put 3 guys, which would probably be the big stabber, the second big stabber, one more totem, and the arrow boy, or maybe even two totems, and then leave one of the remaining guys for your hammer. There's an argument to be made for the arrow boy, because if the hammer comes on late in the game, the arrow boy can still have an impact and not just waste all his time running. Instead, he'll be able to shoot from where he spawns, basically. So I think this is a solid list, not an amazing list. Bonesplitterz were never an amazing warband, but they are not a bad warband. Also, if you want to develop this group of fighters, so say you get up to 1100 value, or maybe 1050. This isn't easy. I don't think with how expensive your fighters are that you're going to be able to afford much. If you get 100 points, you might want to get just another arrow boy. They are not bad, they can poke a bit, and they are additional bodies that can conquer objectives and so on. So that's probably where I'd go. I would not bring like allies or something, because they tend to be more expensive and you'd have to drop other units. So yeah, that's really all for today. Thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next one.